Well, good afternoon, Valkyrie fans, basketball fans out there for Bigfork, and welcome to Shelby, Montana, the Coyote Tip-Off Classic, as the Valkyries will tip it off here and warming up before this ball game as they take on the Belt Lady Huskies here from Shelby, Montana. We'll get the starting lineups momentarily. The Valkyries took the game by 5 yesterday, 50-45 over the Shepherd Phillies. And the Phillies just lost to Shelby, the Lady Coyotes, this afternoon. That game wrapped it up, so we're slightly behind scheduled for a 2:30 tip-off, and we'll tip off here in about 10 minutes or so. And we'll give you all the action live. Here earlier, it was the Vikings with a 73-32 41-point victory over the Shepherd Mustangs. So the Vikings moved to 2-0 on the season in defense of their state title. And they'll face Eureka next Thursday, as well as the Valkyries at home in a doubleheader. So the first home action for both teams coming up next Thursday. James LaFontaine with you, the voice of the Vikes and the Vals from Shelby, Montana. 406-270-7384. Let me know if you're listening out there catching this Valkyrie action. Here, I'll be back momentarily with the starting lineups for both teams from Shelby, Montana. All right, folks, welcome back to Shelby, Montana, the Coyote Kickoff Classic. This afternoon's ball game between the Bigfork Valkyries and the Belt Lady Huskies. First of all, the starters for Belt, laden with juniors and seniors. 2 seniors and the rest all juniors on this team that's played together for quite a bit of time, as I heard, as they took it to yesterday. They took it against Florence as they beat Florence 51-29, Belt a Class C school. So their starting lineup: at a 5'7" junior, number 2, Colby Pemberton. At 5'8" senior, number 3, Morgan Cooper. At 5'10", a junior, number 14, Shelby Paulson. 5'10", junior, Abby Glicko, number 33. And a 5'5" junior, number 42, Adele Meisner. The Lady Huskies are led by head coach Jeff Graham, assisted by Susie Mackey and Renzi Horton. The starting lineup for your Bigfork Valkyries this afternoon: it'll be the freshman, number 11, Emma Barrett. Number 12, freshman Heidi Schnella, the senior. And number 12. And we'll get you some heights in one of their positions as well. So Emma's a 5'8" guard forward, just a freshman. Heidi Stunner, the senior guard, 5'3". Jordan Nelson, the 5'8" forward and center for Bigfork, senior, number 21. At 5'8" forward and center, junior, number 24, Ensley Edgerton, who had a big game yesterday for the Valkyries. And a 5'7" guard forward, junior, number 33, Isabella Santa Steven. The head coach, Jamie Greeny, is not here at this tournament today, taking care of Rakaya. Rakaya's not here as well. Thoughts and prayers to Rakaya as she goes through some health issues, and hopefully she'll recover and be back this year. Also out today, Meredith Bedford, a 5'7" junior, out sick as well. So the Valkyries a little short-handed in this tournament this afternoon. So Courtney Gunlock is filling in as the head coach, assisted by Jim Blow and Brandy Couture. Jason Grandy, also one of the assistants, is out, as well as they take care of Rakaya. All right, we got restarters for both games. We got about 3 minutes or so, and we'll kick off the action this afternoon. The 2:30 scheduled ball game between the Bigfork Valkyries and the Belt Lady Huskies from Shelby, Montana, in the Coyote Tip-Off Classic. We'll be back with the tip-off momentarily from Shelby. All right, welcome back to Shelby, Montana, the Coyote Tip-Off Classic. Get ready to tip things off between the Valkyries and the Lady Huskies. Belt, like I said yesterday, it was Belt over Florence, 51-29. Yesterday afternoon at 2:30, and last night at the 7:30 ball game, it was the Valkyries down early against the Shepherd Phillies, and coming back to win that ball game 50-45. And so this matchup today, I understand Belt as a pretty good team. Class C. Haven't seen them play yet, so we'll see what they're all about this afternoon. Valkyries again down a couple. Short-handed today with a couple players out, but they'll still play the ball game. Yesterday, Emma Barrett, the freshman, her first game as a high schooler, a little nervous as I talked to her later in her first game. Understandable, but did an outstanding job as a freshman. So Belt will be in their whites, and the Valkyries will be in their white and powder blue uniforms this year. So the starting lineup is the freshman, Emma Barrett. the younger sister of Ellie Barrett, who graduated. Heidi Schneller came off the bench last year, starting this year, along with Jordan Nelson, the first two off the bench last year. Ansley Edgerton, and then Isabella Santa-Steven came off the bench last year. To replace a lot of Rakaya Gritty, the only starter coming back this year, and she's out. So replacing what we had last year, you know, Ellie Barrett, we have Abigail, Abby Ellison, Jamie Berg, along with Shay Anderson, all graduating last year. So a little changing of the guard, a new team to start this year, with Bedford being out sick and Grindy out as well for Courtney Gunlock and the Valkyries today. We'll get ready to tip things off here. We're only about 5 minutes behind schedule here from Shelby, Montana. And 3 officials, as they've had for every game so far at this tournament. So tipping things off, Ansley Edgerton will tip it off against number 3, Morgan Cooper. And here we go. Here's the tip. Edgerton tips it back to Jordan Nelson in the backcourt. Up to Schneller on the right side. Going to dribble towards the middle. Looking to pass. Edgerton leads it to the basket. Shot up and no good off the rebound. Santa-Steven will come up the loose ball and going for the loose ball and pushed away. That's going to be a foul on Adele Meisner, as battling Santa-Steven for the loose ball. Santa-Steven comes up with it, but foul. First foul on Meisner and first team foul. Santa-Steven into Edgerton. Edgerton thought about shooting the 3 on the left side, puts it up from 2, misses. Schneller gets the rebound, puts it back up, hits the side of the backboard, no good. Bringing it out is Cooper for Belt, and they like to run the court. Cooper feeds it out top to Meisner. Meisner over to Pemberton. Pemberton. And in the corner, Cooper with a 3-point shot on the way, no good. And rebounded there by number 14, Paulson. Paulson can't recover it, gets out of bounds, and it'll be turned over to the Valkyries with 7:20 and no score yet. Santa-Steven into Schneller. Schneller no travel, gave it to Barrett, and she got trapped, knocked away by Pemberton. Pemberton drives it, puts up the left hand, scores the bucket, and we'll get to shoot the and one. The foul's on number 11. That's Emma Barrett. That is going to be her first foul and first team foul. And Colby Pemberton will go to the line. Free throw up is no good. Santa-Steven comes up with the loose ball. And pressure by Belt. Ball's on the floor. Barrett gets on the floor with Paulson and a jump ball. And the possession arrow points towards Belt. It'll stay on this end of the court. 406-270-7384. James LaFontaine, the voice of the Vikings and Vals. Let me know if you can hear me out there. Pemberton with the basketball. Feeds it out to Meisner. Meisner back to Pemberton. Thought about shooting that long 3. Inside, passes it. Nice pass into Morgan Cooper. Cooper cut to the basket, scores the bucket, and 4-0 as Belt leads. Emma Barrett dribbles the basketball off of Morgan Cooper. It'll remain Bigfork Valkyries basketball. Belt likes to pressure full court. Passes it into Meisner, or excuse me. And stolen away, and Belt goes to the bucket. And foul will be on number 11, her second foul on Emma Barrett, and she's going to have to sit down. Got in early foul trouble yesterday, and Belt will take it out of bounds. Pemberton, 3-point shot on the way, off the rim, and no good. Rebounded by Meisner, out to Cooper. Cooper feeds it to Meisner. Meisner gives it back to Cooper. Cooper on the drive. A little floater up and good. Barrett with a basketball. Loses her dribble, picks it up at half court. And they're going to call a held ball. Looked like got a little bit of arm there, but they call a held ball. 6-12 on your Harvest Food scoreboard, and 6-0 Belt leads the Valkyries here in the first quarter. Schneller to inbounds the ball to Barrett, knocked out of bounds. And Pemberton tried to save it, but she was stepped out of bounds, and it'll be Bigfork basketball on the far side. Santa Stephen to take it out, looking. Get the ball in, gets it into Schneller. Schneller at the top of the key, poked away by Meisner. Meisner feeds it, gives it to Emma Barrett. Barrett is going to look to drive, gives it up to Schneller. Schneller on the drive, loses it, gets on the floor, and tied up by Cooper. A little chaotic for Bigfork here to start off the ball game. 40. McAnally. Ashton McAnally checking in for Bigfork. Number 30, check that. Number 12, Brooks Schrainer in for Belt with the basketball. Also number 10, Kylie Margus. And on the drive is Pemberton. Scoop up, no good. Emma Barrett with the rebound for Bigfork. Got pressure in the backcourt is Belt. A lot of pressure for that freshman. Barrett's got to dribble the basketball, she's got to pass it. Feeds it out to McAnally. The front court, McAnally going to take it and drive it. Cut off. McAnally out to Barrett on the right side. Barrett trying to deal with the pressure. Feeds it out to McAnally. McAnally to Santa Stevens on the far side, knocked out of bounds by Cooper. And it'll remain Bigfork basketball on the far side as the Valkyries trail 6-0 with 5:15 to go here in the first quarter. Santa Stevens to take it out for Bigfork. Into Barrett. Barrett on the left side. Brings it out to the top of the key, sets off, it's Edgerton. Shot on the way, off the backboard, and no good. Rebounded, and come up with is Pemberton. Pemberton feeds it. Cooper. Cooper like gonna pull up for a jumper, no good. Misses everything. Shot up by Marcus, and off the rim, out of bounds off Bigfork. It will remain Belt basketball. Heidi Schneller replaces Ansley Edgerton. Grace Norstedt in for Belt. And Paulson back in as well. 3-point shot on the way, no good. Rebounded by Paulson. Paulson puts it back up with the left hand, and good for the Lady Huskies. Inbound to Barrett. 8-0, the Valkyries trail early. And Barrett dribbles it out of bounds, and turnover to the Lady Huskies. Isabel Stevens tilts in front of the, and goes up for the layup and shoots it too hard, misses it. Meisner with the basketball, gives it up to Marcus. Over to Schrainer. Schrainer, shot on the way by Paulson, no good. Rebounded by Meisner. And inside, but she's fouled as Paulson tries to go up. And she's going to get 2 free throws. Fouls on number 33, Isabel Santa Stephen. That is Santa Stevens' first. And Bigfork will take a full timeout to try to recoup here in the first quarter as they trail 8-0 to the Belt Lady Huskies on your Harvest Foods scoreboard. Here from Shelby, Montana. Belt like to do a lot of substitution. They're quick, they're athletic, and they put a lot of pressure on these girls have played together for a long time. And the Valkyries, Coach Gunlock is trying to show them how to deal with that pressure. Can't dribble the basketball, got to pass it and get it up the court. So 8-0. Valkyries trail the Lady Huskies on your Harvest Foods scoreboard early here in the first quarter from Shelby, Montana. 406-270-7384. And at the line, it'll be number 14, Shelby Paulson, with a couple shots for Belt. First shot off the front of the rim and no good. She'll get one more. So Marquise, along with Schrader, Paulson, Meisner, and Grace Norstedt in the ball game for Belt. Rebound off the miss and tied up between Emma Barrett and Schrader. It'll be Bigfork basketball. McAnally, Isabel Stanistevich, Schneller, Barrett, and Nelson in the ball game. Into Heidi, Schneller knocked away by Meisner. Schneller looks up to try to get a pass off up the court, and Barrett will take it out of bounds on the near side. They're heading to left to right are the Valkyries on your radio dial. And Barrett gets it in, feeds it to Schneller, over to Jordan Nelson. Jordan Nelson gives it out to Barrett at the top of the key. Dribbling left-handed, feeds it out to Schneller, going to set it up with 4 minutes and counting here in the first quarter and trailing 8-0. On the right side is Schneller. Schneller looking to drive, feeds it to Barrett. Barrett, three-point shot on the way. Oh, rebounded by Meisner, and Nelson putting on the pressure in the backcourt. Meisner brings it up. Nelson's going to reach in and get called for the foul. So that'll be Jordan's first personal and the fourth team foul on Bigfork. I think Bigfork just needs to settle down, get a bucket to score if they get that first one. Kind of slow like they got out yesterday. So Pemberton returns. Meisner with the basketball, gives it over to Pemberton. Pemberton dribbles. Meisner at the top of the key, feeds it over to Schrader. Schrader, Pemberton, long three-point shot on the way, rebound, no good. Put up after getting the rebound by Belt, number 33, Abby Glicko, is fouled. And the foul is on Ashton McAnally, her first and team fifth. And at the free throw line, shooting two is Abby Glicko for Belt, with 3:29 to go here in the first quarter. And the second free throw up and on the way, off the rim and no good. And the Valkyries being out hustled, rebound run down by Schrader. Schrader feeds it into Gilco, stolen away by McAnally. McAnally to Schneller. Schneller going to drive it up, feeds it, passes across court. Santa Steven comes up with it on the left side with 3:11 to go. Santa Steven dribbles to the right side, looking for McAnally. McAnally out on the right side, gets it stolen away by Pemberton, and up the court. And to Cooper. And Barrett tried to step in front and take the charge, and that's going to be her third personal. And it's going to have to sit down for the rest of the first half as Ansley Edgerton will come into the ball game for the Valkyries, replacing Barrett. That is Barrett's third personal already here in the first quarter. Meisner tries to get across, gets it across. Schrader, Cooper, three-point shot on the way and good. 2:45 and counting, 11-0 Belt leads. Nelson over to Edgerton, dribbles it, stolen away by Pemberton. Pemberton dribbling up the court, feeds it and just misses an open Brooke Schrader, and out of bounds to Bigfork with 2:33 to go, and the Valkyries trailing 11-0 here in the first quarter. McAnally inbounding, finds Santa Stevens. Schneller got to drive it up the court. Pressure on her, feeds it to Santa Steven. McAnally comes up with it. Santa Steven now with the loose ball on the left side. They're going to try to trap to Schneller. Schneller looking to drive it down the right side, and pressure by Belt. Feeds it underneath. Jordan Nelson's free throw is good. Score the bucket, and Nelson will get to shoot the and one for the Valkyries. And the first 2 points for the Valkyries. Grace Norstedt comes back in along with number 10, Marquise, and 14, Paulson. So usually rotating 3, it looks like, for Belt so they can run. 2:10 to go here in the first quarter. Nelson's free throw on the way, off the rim and no good. 11-2 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Belt leading the Valkyries. Cooper with the basketball, far right side. Pressure by Schneller and Nelson trapping. And they're going to call a foul on Bigfork. And that'll put fouls on number 12, Heidi Schneller. That's Schneller's first and 7th team foul, so Belt will be in the bonus, shooting 1 and 1 the rest of the way for the first half. Morgan Cooper at the line for a 1 and 1 for the Lady Huskies. First shot on the way and good. Just under 2 minutes, 1:58 to go in the first quarter, and a 12-2 lead for Belt over Bigfork. Second shot on the way by Cooper is no good, off the rim. Run down by Edgerton. Edgerton finds Schneller. Schneller brings it in the front court, going to drive it. And nearly trapped. Schneller comes up with it, passes it out, but she's fouled. Fouls on number 3, Colby Pemberton. And that is her second foul here in the first half, and a 13 foul on the Lady Huskies. Schneller underneath, take it out for Bigfork, feeds it into Edgerton. Edgerton out to Schneller on the right side. Schneller looking to drive it, drives it into traffic, and another jump ball. And this time possession belongs to the Lady Huskies. 1:42 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. 12-2. Lady Huskies over the Valkyries. Schrainer gives it to Meisner. Meisner gives it up to number 15, Shelton. Stolen away by Jordan Nelson. Jordan Nelson going coast to coast. Misses the layup, but gets her own rebound, puts it back up, and good by Jordan Nelson. So Nelson with all 4 points for Bigfork. Meisner feeds it over to Schrainer. Schrainer back to Meisner. Over to Marquise. Marquise getting trapped. Feeds it, throws it away, and out of bounds as she intended to hit Schrainer. And out of bounds turnover to the Valkyries. And here Belt substitutes 4. So Norstedt along with Schrainer, Pemberton, Cooper, and Paulson in the ball game. Sailor Martins comes in for the first time for Bigfork. McAnally in the backcourt. Gonna get trapped, looking to throw it. Feeds it to Santa Stevens in the front court. Santa Stevens gonna look to get trapped, and she gets it away, but she is fouled. Check that. A 30-second timeout called by the Valkyries before Santa Stevens gets trapped. 12-4, Lady Huskies leading the Bigfork Valkyries here early. Valkyries trying to get their feet underneath them and get back in this ball game. Just like yesterday, started a little bit slow against the Shepherd Phillies and were able to come back and win that ball game. So they're figuring things out here early in the first quarter for Bigfork. Belt substituting 3 or 4 at a time to catch fresh players, and their coach is very active coaching on the sideline. Santa Stevens in the front court will take it out of bounds, and she's looking for McAnally. Got to come to it. Throws it to Edgerton. Ansley nearly goes in the backcourt. Pass intended for Sailor Martins, and she throws it out of bounds, so it'll be Lady Husky basketball. Pemberton inbounds to Schrainer. Schrainer back to Pemberton. Pemberton finding Cooper. Cooper's shot on the way, and off the rim, backboard, and good for 2. 14-4 into McAnally. Edgerton over to Santa Stevens. Santa Stevens and 3 Lady Huskies come right at her. Feeds it to Ansley Edgerton. Edgerton gonna drive. Shot up and just off the front side of the rim, no good. Dove on. Pemberton comes up with it. Feeds it up to Paulson. Paulson gonna drive it against McAnally. And McAnally moving her feet is gonna get called for the blocking foul. And that'll be the 8th team foul, and McAnally's second. That's 2 on Ashton McAnally, and at the line to shoot 2. It'll be number 14, Shelby Paulson. Her first shot off the rim and no good. And waiting at the scorer's table, Adele Meisner, substitute in for Paulson. Her second shot on the way, no good, and Jordan Nelson comes up with the rebound for the Valkyries, feeds it to McAnally. And before she made the pass, Jordan travels, so a turnover by Bigfork. That'll bring in number 42, Adele Meisner, for the Lady Huskies as they lead 14-4 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Meisner gets it into Pemberton. Pemberton looking to drive, top of the key, feeds it into Cooper. Cooper's shot off the rim, no good. Rebound by Martins, feeds it up. And an ill-advised pass, but knocked out of bounds by Pemberton. It'll remain Bigfork Valkyries basketball. Just under 8 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Into Martins. Martins got to get across the timeline, 5 seconds. Got to get his shot off. Martins over to McAnally. McAnally on the drive, and he's going to turn it over. Loose ball as Nelson and Pemberton fight for it, and that'll be the end of the first quarter. And the Valkyries find themselves in a 10-point deficit early after 1 quarter. It is the Belt Lady Huskies 14, the Bigfork Valkyries 4 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. We'll be back with the second quarter momentarily from Shelby, Montana at the Coyote Tip-Off Classic. All right, welcome back to Shelby, Montana. James LaFontaine with you, boys of the Vikings and the Vals. And 1 quarter complete as the Valkyries trail 14-4, and it'll be Belt basketball to start the second quarter. Cooper to inbound. Looking to get it in, and she gets it inbound to Marquise. Marquise across, and nearly tied up by Edgerton, and Paulson will throw it out of bounds. Turnover to Bigfork. Bigfork just got to figure out how to break this press into Ansley Edgerton. Got to be patient. Beats to Schneller, and it's kicked. Turnover as Belt comes up the basketball. Cooper feeds it on Marquise. Marquise shuffles her feet. She travels. Turnover into the Valkyries. A 4-cross set for Bigfork on the inbounds. Feeds it into Schneller. Schneller right side. Santa Stevens to settle down. McAnally over to Schneller, broke the press, got it up in the front court. Schneller drives it all the way off the rim and no good. Edgerton gets the rebound, and they're going to call a held ball, and it will remain with Bigfork on the possession arrow, pointing their direction. Underneath, Schneller will take it out of bounds for the Valkyries. Looking inbounds, finds Jordan Nelson. Jordan Nelson up, just misses the layup, and no good. Schneller nearly saves it out of bounds. And they're going to call a held ball, looks like. So Belt will get it, inbound it. They didn't change the possession arrow, so I'm not quite sure. Marquise gets tied up, and their coach over there calls a 30-second timeout, yelling at his players. You know, get in place. Jeff Graham, a little boisterous with the Lady Huskies. Here in quarter number 2, just getting underway. Couple of Valkyries in foul trouble already. 2 for McAnally, but she stays in the ball game. Emma Barrett, the freshman, picks up 3 early. And the first quarter, she's going to have to sit the rest of the first half. And so Courtney Gunlock will have her in the second half. They trail by 10, 14-4, with 7:16 to go to halftime. Inbound to Marquise. Marquise to Cooper. Cooper driving up the left side. Schneller right there along with Isabella Stevens. Into Paulson. Paulson over and under. Up and under with the left hand, and good by Paulson. And they'll count the basket. She got the shoot and one. And let's see who they call the foul on. Foul's on Nelson, her second. And free throws up and no good off the front of the rim. And Cooper will come up, or excuse me, Paulson comes up the rebound. Cooper on the drive. And another foul against the Valkyries. And that'll be the third foul on Ashton McAnally. So McAnally and Barrett both have three. McAnally's going to have to come out of the ball game and sit down the rest of the first half. Free throw on the way is good by Morgan Cooper. And Martins will come in for Jordan Nelson, as Nelson picked up her second earlier. And second free throw by Cooper on the way and is good. 18-4 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Santa Stevens to take it out for the Valkyries. Into Schneller, right side, back to Santa Stevens. Santa Stevens need to dribble. Finds the middle to McAnally. Stolen away by Gilco. Gilco feeds it up and under. Shot missed there by Marquise. Rebounded by Ansley Edgerton. Edgerton over to Martins. Martins trying to get it to Santa Stevens. Knocked away by the Lady Huskies and out of bounds. It'll be Bigfork basketball on the far side. And three Lady Huskies come in. Pemberton. Schrainer. And the ball game along with Martins with the basketball. Looking to drive. Takes it up. Shoots it off the backboards. Get fouled. And Sailor Martins will go to the line as fouls on number 12. Brooke Schrainer, her first and just the 14th foul on the Lady Huskies. Sailor Martins, two free throws. First shot up and good for Bigfork. And she'll get one more with 6:34 to go here till halftime. Second shot off the rim and no good. And Belt. Paulson comes up with the rebound. Over to Meisner. Back to Marquise. Into Paulson. Paulson looks to throw it up, and hopefully that's not on McAnally. We'll see if that is. That'll be her fourth, and in trouble it is. Ashton McAnally, 4 fouls here in the first half. Shelby Paulson the line, shooting 2. First shot rolls off the front of the rim, backboard, and in. And McAnally will have to sit down. Jordan Nelson with 2 comes back in for the Valkyries, and Paulson will get another free throw. Paulson's shot on the way, 20-5. Lady Huskies lead the Valkyries with 6:23 to go till halftime on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Inbound is Schneller with the basketball. Feeds it over to Santa Stevens. Santa Stevens driven up the outside. Pressure by Belt. Coming from behind. Stolen away. And Pemberton breaks towards the basket. Nelson missed. The shot missed. Martins gets the rebound. Feeds it out to Schneller. Throws it away to Schrainer. Schrainer out to Cooper. Cooper to Pemberton. Pemberton top of the key. Left side. Feeds it over to Cooper. Cooper looking to drive. Martins right there. Stops it. And it's going to be over the back of, as Martins boxed out there on Shelby Paulson, as Paulson's going to get called for the foul. That is her first. And just the 15th foul with 5:50 to go to halftime. And the Valkyries trailing 20-5. Martins to take it out of bounds. Feeds it into Ansley Edgerton. Edgerton back to Martins. Martins bringing it up over to Schneller. Schneller right side. Feeds it over to Edgerton. Edgerton three-point shot on the way, off the back of the rim, and no good. Rebounded by Pemberton up to Cooper. Cooper driving all the way to the basket. Martins right there, but scored the bucket by Cooper. Inbounds. Martins with the basketball. She's going to dribble it up, finds Ansley Edgerton at the right side. Edgerton looking to attack. Feeds Santa Stephen at the top of the key over to Edgerton. Edgerton's three-point shot on the way. Flush down. She scores a three. Does Ansley Edgerton at 22-8. Finally, a bucket being able to drop for Bigfork. 5 minutes to go. And Pemberton driving it all the way to the basket and scores the bucket for Belt. 24-8 under Harvest Food scoreboard. Just under 5 minutes to go. Into Schneller. Back to Martins. Martins looking for Schneller. That pressure from Belt. Schneller passing across court to Santa Stevens in the front court. Far side. Gives up her dribble. Feeds it over to Schneller. Right side. Dribbling down. Dribbling in the middle is Schneller. Drives to the basket off the backboard and no good. Misses the free throw. And on the rebound, Jordan Nelson is going to pick up her third personal here in the first half as Abby Glicko gets the rebound. Nelson's third, and Gunlock's going to have to go deep into her bench. Audrey Benz checking in the ball game for Bigfork, replacing Jordan Nelson, who sits down with three, and Glicko will be at the line for 1 and 1. Or check that. They're in the double bonus, 10 fouls. Bigfork makes the first one, 25-8, 4:33 to go. She gets one more. And shot is on the way off the rim, rebounded. Hustle around, Edgerton gets on the floor and ties it up. It'll be main Belt basketball as Tori Shelton comes in for the Lady Huskies with 4:29 to go here till halftime. And Lady Huskies basketball underneath. And 30-second timeout will be called by Belt as the Valkyries trail 25-8. Here from the Coyote Tip-Off Classic in Shelby, Montana. Well, they're as good as advertised. Usually the Valkyries don't have enough to press the team that likes to press. Most teams that press like that and put pressure on her don't like to be pressed, and Belt has a lot of substitutes and has put a lot of pressure on the Valkyries. Oh, Meisner will inbound it for Belt over to Schrainer. Schrainer gives it out to Pemberton. Pemberton looking underneath. Takes a step, shot up, and missed there by Paulson and rebounded by Bigfork. And off of Brooke Schrainer, so it'll be Bigfork basketball on the end line on the near side. Aubrey Benz will inbound it. Feeds Schneller. Schneller looking up, finds Edgerton. Edgerton going to break towards the basket. Coming from behind, pressure on by Bell. Out to Schneller. Schneller top of the key. Finds Aubrey Benz. Benz crosses over. Feeds to Schneller. Schneller out to Edgerton. Edgerton's shot on the way out the backboard. Use of the bank is open on Saturday. Late three-point basket by Ansley Edgerton off the backboard. Pemberton with the basketball, front court. Over to Meisner. Meisner looking underneath. Finds it Pemberton. Pemberton brings it out to the top of the key. Over to Meisner. Meisner over. Pemberton's three-point shot off the backboard and no good. Benz fights with it with Schrainer. Schrainer over to Pemberton. Pemberton on the right side. Dribbles it off her foot, recovers it. And Schneller trying to run it down underneath. Throws it up. Does Schrainer missed. Pemberton gets the rebound with the left hand. Puts it back up. And 27-11. Belt leads the Valkyries. Santa Stephen to get the ball in. Feeds it. Forces it. Pemberton steals the basketball and throws it up to underneath the basket, but she's going to be fouled on the shot. And fouls on Isabella Santa Stephen. That is her second. And at the line shooting two is Colby Pemberton. And she makes the first free throw. And then 4 Belt players come in, so coach is substituting 3 or 4 at a time. So Cooper comes in. Glicko, Norstedt, second shot is up and good. Replaces all 5 on the 32. Carly Perman, and 29-11 on your Harvest Foods scoreboard. Ansley Edgerton with the basketball on the right side. Throws it over to Schneller. Schneller left side, dribbling up the court. Looking to break the press. Feeds it over to Edgerton. Edgerton on the drive, looking to shoot. And they're going to call traveling. And it looks like she got fouled on the arm before the shot, which called the traveling. Well, Belt will have the basketball. Bringing up the court is Marquise. Over to Cooper. Cooper back at the top of the key. Feeds it over to Perman. Perman's three-point shot, no good. Edgerton with the rebound. Gets bumped. Aubrey Benz in the front court with the basketball. And it is kicked by Kylie Marquise. And it'll be Bigfork basketball on the far side in the front court. Santa Stephen to take it out. Feeds it into Schneller. Schneller on the left side. To the top of the key. She's going to drive right to the basket. Finds underneath to Martins. Basket is good by Sailor Martins on a nice pass by Schneller. And 2:27 to go. And a foul is on number 33, Abby Glicko. Her first 16th foul. Martins to complete the 1-and-1, and she's up and good. 29-14, Valkyries trail on your Harvest Food scoreboard with 2:20 to go in the ball game. Cooper with top of the key. Over to Marquise. Marquise dribbles down towards the lane. Out to Cooper. Cooper thought about doing a three-point shot. Gives it underneath the Glicko. Cooper, three-point shot out the front of the rim, no good. And Schneller with the basketball in the front court. It's going to drive it up. Crossover move off the backboard and good by Heidi Schneller for 2. And 29-16, up to 2 minutes to go till halftime. Marquise dribbles it up, gives it over to Cooper, left side. Cooper dribbling in. Jumper, no good. Aubrey Benz with the rebound for Bigfork. Passes it right to Marquise. Marquise drives it right to the lane for 2. And Schneller will inbound to Santa Stephen, back to Schneller in the backcourt. Up to Aubrey Benz. Benz looking to drive. Feeds it underneath to Martins. Stolen away by Cooper for a Belt. And Marquise up the right side. Feeds it underneath. And shot up by number 5, Grace Norstedt. And she's fouled on the shot with 1:19 to go. And that's the second foul on Heidi Schneller. And at the line, it'll be number 5, Grace Norstedt, to shoot 2. Off the back of the rim and no good. 1:19 to go. And Pemberton, along with Paulson and Schrader, come back in for Belt. And a second free throw. Off the front of the rim, back of the rim, excuse me, no good. Up and under by Schrader, no good. And Belt will turn it over. And coming back in is number 42, Adele Meisner for Belt. Aubrey Benz to take it out in the backcourt for Bigfork. Looking to get it in. Feeds it over to Santa Stephen. And Cooper's going to steal it away, take it to the basket on the right side, and scores the bucket. 33-16 with 1 minute to go in the ball in the first half. Benz inbound to Edgerton. Edgerton with the basketball. Stolen away by Pemberton. Pemberton dribbles to the right side. Looking underneath, finds Cooper. Backdoor layup. Blocked by Santa Stevens. And they're going to call a foul. And they're going to call a push, and she was up top on the basketball. I don't know how they can call a push there. Anyway, foul on Santa Stephen. That is her 3rd. And at the line is Cooper, makes the first free throw. 34-16. Foul's a little unbalanced. Only 6 against Belt in the first half, and like 15 at least against Bigfork. And they're going to call a lane violation on Belt on the second free throw. So 54.7 seconds to go, and the Valkyries trail to a very good Belt team, 34-16 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Benz tries to get into Schneller, knocked away by Meisner. It'll be Bigfork basketball underneath. Just under 55 seconds to go here till halftime. Benz feeds it to Edgerton. Edgerton dribble up, pressure put on, and taken down, knocked down by Paulson. No foul. Cooper with the basketball. Over to Paulson. Paulson looked like she shuffled her feet. Back to Paulson. Paulson going to drive across. Loses the basketball. Martins comes up with it. Feeds it to Schneller. Schneller going to throw it front court. Santa Steven comes back and saves it and gets it. And feeds it over to Schneller. Schneller on the drive. And off of Pemberton, out of bounds. As Schneller drives in there, no call. Santa Steven will take it out underneath for Bigfork. And Pemberton steals it as the inbounds comes in and dribbles up with 19 seconds to go. Pemberton driving, throws it up, left hand, and good. And Benz will take it out of bounds to Edgerton. Edgerton to Santa Stevens, feeds it over to Schneller. Schneller on the drive, scores 2 on the drive with .8. That's going to be your halftime score as the Belt Lady Huskies double up the Bigfork Valkyries 36-18 here at halftime on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Your halftime will be brought to you by the Bigfork Booster Club. Thanks to Zoe Bedford and folks for sponsoring this game, along with Marcus Balgos and the Bigfork Harvest Food scoreboard. Once again, from Shelby, Montana, at halftime, it is the Belt Lady Huskies, a very good Class C team, leading the Bigfork Valkyries 36-18 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. We'll be back momentarily. Take a small break and be back with your halftime stats and the second half of this ball game from Shelby, Montana, the Coyote Tip-Off Classic. This is James LaFontaine, the voice of the Vikes, the Vals. We'll be back with you momentarily. Well, welcome back to Shelby, Montana. The Valkyries trail at halftime, 36-18 on your Harvest Foods scoreboard. Halftime brought to you by Bigfork Boosters. Well, and this stat must be wrong because they have Sneller with 4. She has 4 points, but only 2 fouls, and they show her with 4 personal fouls. Let's see, 3. Total points 4 for Heidi Sneller. Jordan Nelson has 4. Edgerton only has 6. And 4 by Sailor Martins. Santa Cecilia hasn't scored for a total of 18. Fouls were 16-5 in the first half. 16 against Bigfork, 5 against Belt. The Lady Huskies, led by Morgan Cooper with 19 points. Pemberton had 8 and 6 by Shelby Paulson. Nobody else scored for a total of 36. And we'll get underway here in the second half. Bigfork only 2 of 7 in the first quarter, 5 of 7 in the second, shooting 71%, but they need to improve here in the second half, break the press. It'll be Valkyrie basketball to start the second half here on your Harvest Food scoreboard. It's 36-18 into Sneller. Sneller going to be a little more aggressive, taking up the court, and she's going to get fouled from behind. So I think Courtney Gudlock said to Heidi, you can take over the second half, your senior leadership, and take it and drive it a little bit more. Fouls on number 42, Adele Meisner, her second. Into Santa Stephen. Santa Stephen needs to shoot that shot. Tied up by Shelby Paulson. So Nelson, Sneller, Santa Stephen, Barrett, and Edgerton, the starters, same starters that started the ball game, and the same starters for the Lady Huskies here in the second half. I'll get those to you. Pemberton, Cooper, Paulson, Glicko, and Meisner. And Paulson with the bucket. Inbound to Barrett. Barrett's pass to Jennifer Schneider out of bounds, and a turnover by Bigfork. 38-18 on your Harvest Food scoreboard with 7:29 to go here in the third quarter. Pemberton into Meisner. Meisner right side, feeds it to Cooper. Cooper fake, pulls up for the jumper. Off the rim and no good. And saved by Belt. Shot up. And Nelson fighting for it. Underneath were Cooper. Cooper shot up. 3-point shot. Ansley Edgerton battling for it. Coming up with is Paulson. Paulson feed it out to Meisner. Meisner on the far side to Pemberton. Pemberton fakes a 3-point shot on the left side and throws it to the side to Paulson. Paulson's going to shuffle her feet, and that is a traveling violation on the Lady Huskies. Turnover to the Valkyries. 406-270-7384. Let me know if you're catching the action of the Valkyries. Santa Stephen inbound. Edgerton back to Santa Stephen. Santa Stephen looking, goes it over to Edgerton. Edgerton right side. Trying to break the press, feeds it across. Barrett gets the basketball, got to drive it all the way, left-handed, and she is fouled by Shelby Paulson. So the Valkyries taking a little more aggressive action in the second half and taking it to the basket as they break the press. Emma Barrett will go to the line. She'll get 2 free throws as she has not scored in this ball game. And Barrett's first free throw up and on the way, and she finds pay dirt. Marquise. And Brooke Schrainer as well for Belt, and Barrett will get another free throw attempt. Off the rim and no good. A lane violation is called on number 2, Pemberton. And Barrett missed it, but she'll get another free throw attempt right here. And you can take advantage of this. And she does. Finds nothing but the bottom of the net. And so Barrett is on the scoreboard with 2. Into Pemberton. Pemberton over to Marquise. Marquise, right side, feeds it into Paulson. Paulson Turnaround jumper trapped by 4 Valkyries, and they're going to call a 3-second violation as Paulson is camped a little bit too long in the lane. 6:31 to go here in the third quarter. 38-20, the Valkyries trail the Lady Huskies. Into Edgerton. Edgerton to Santa Stephen, back to Edgerton, and she can't quite get it out of bounds. And another turnover for the Valkyries. Got to take care of the basketball here in the second half. They got an opportunity to get back in this ball game as they trail by 18. Pemberton gets the ball into Marquise. Marquise finds Pemberton. Pemberton thought about that long three-point shot. Doesn't do it. Glicko. Paulson, long three. Off the rim and no good. And Santa Steve will come up with the rebound and just hacked. And they're not calling. They call a held ball. And it will be Bigfork basketball underneath. Belt being very aggressive on their press. Into Barrett. Barrett's going to dribble up left side. Pressure. Pemberton feeds it to Edgerton. Forces it. And Belt comes up with a steal. Marquise. Layup no good. Rebound by Heidi Schneller. Schneller just throws it out to Nelson and stolen by Pemberton. Pemberton all the way for the bucket, and she's going to get fouled. Fouls on number 12. That's Heidi Schneller. I have Schneller down for 3 fouls. Pemberton's shot up and rebounded there by Nelson. Nelson just throws it out, and Pemberton comes up with a steal. Layup no good. Barrett with the basketball. Feeds it to Schneller. Schneller with the pressure over to Ansley Edgerton up the right side. Got to attack here. Does Bigfork out to Santa Steve at the top of the key. 40-22, 5:32 to go, and the Valkyries trailing the Lady Huskies. Schneller on the drive, and she's going to go to the line and shoot 2. And Schneller goes to the line for Bigfork to shoot 2 free throws here with 5:27 to go in the third quarter. First shot off the back of the rim and no good. Lindsey Paulson, number 4, checking in. And second shot on the way, no good. Rebound by Schraner. Schraner dribbles it up. Pressure out to Marquise. Marquise gives it to Meisner. Nearly stolen. Taken away by Schneller. And Ansley Edgerton brings it up, turns it over. And it'll be the Lady Huskies basketball. Heidi Schneller, the senior, picks up her 4th personal foul. That'll bring Sailor Martins back in the ball game for Bigfork. And inboundings is Cooper to Meisner. Meisner, top of the key, feeds it over to Schraner. Nearly stolen by Edgerton. Out to Cooper. Cooper's going to turn around, shoot the 3-point shot. No good. And Jordan Nelson battling for. And that's going to be Jordan Nelson's 4th personal. So Bigfork in big foul trouble here. Schneller, Nelson, and McAnally all 3 have 4 fouls. Traveling violation on Lindsey Paulson. It'll be turned over to Bigfork. So Belt doubling up Bigfork, 40-20 on your Harvest Foods scoreboard with 4:50 to go in the third quarter. Santa Stephen gets it into Edgerton. Edgerton dribbling up the right side. Going to get trapped over there. Feeds it over to Sailor Martins. Martins out to Barrett. Barrett's shot on the way. It is good for two by Emma Barrett. And 40-22, the Valkyries trailing. Shot on the way by Havner. Up to Ansley Edgerton. Edgerton gonna watch out from behind. Santa Steve with the basketball under Nelson. Nelson's shot up and good. On the layup is Jordan Nelson. 40-24 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. 4:10 to go. Valkyries trailing by 16. Cooper shot up and good. Inbound, stolen away, and then put up by Marquise. The pass from Schrader, good. Into Edgerton, knocked away by Bell as she tries to pass back to Santa Stephen, and it'll be out of bounds off for the Lady Huskies, and it will be Bigfork basketball after the timeout, as the Lady Huskies lead Bigfork 44-24 here in the third quarter, and a full timeout called by Belt. And we'll take a timeout here, be back with the rest of the third quarter in this ball game from Shelby, Montana. Okay, welcome back to the Coyote Tip-Off Classic from Shelby, Montana. It's the Valkyries trailing 44-24, 3:50 to go here in the third quarter, and they got the basketball. Martins will take it out of bounds, gives it into Barrett. Barrett will dribble up the left side, feeds it up to Martins, over to Isabel Santa Stephen. Crossover move up off the rim and no good, and she'll go in there to get the rebound, and a held ball. And it will remain here with the Valkyries. Yeah, she followed her shot after the miss to Santa Stephen, and she'll take it out of bounds for Bigfork. Barrett, Santa Stevens, right side. Edgerton, long three-point shot on the way, off the rim and no good. And Pemberton comes out with it for the Lady Huskies. Top of the key is Pemberton. Barrett, Santa Stevens, Nelson, Edgerton, and Martins in the ball game for the Valkyries. On the left side, over to Belt. Shot on the way, missed by Paulson. Rebound by Belt. Three-point shot on the way for Pemberton, and Edgerton will come up with it. Barrett up the left side, looking to drive it all the way in the left-hand corner. Comes out and feeds it out to Edgerton. Edgerton on the drive, and scores the bucket on the right-handed layup. Does Ansley Edgerton, 44-26 on your Harvest Food scoreboard with 2:40 to go. Over the corner to Pierman for Belt. Feeds it to Paulson. Paulson with the basketball, looking to drive to the middle. Feeds it underneath to Pemberton. Pemberton's shot on the baseline is good. 46-26, 2:22 to go. Inbounded. Santa Stevens to Barrett. Barrett looking for Martins. Back to Santa Stevens. Santa Stevens blocked away by Pemberton. Back to Santa Stevens with 2 minutes to go. Feeds it over to Martins. Out to Ansley Edgerton. Edgerton looking to drive. Forces it up. No good. And Belt will come up with it. Nelson comes in there and ties it up. It'll be a held ball. And the arrow points toward the Lady Huskies. Heidi Schneller with 4 fouls will return to the lineup for Emma Barrett. or check that for Isabella Stevens back in the game for the Valkyries. So Barrett, Schneller, Nelson, Edgerton, and Martins. Marquise with the basketball over to Meisner. Throws it away. Barrett comes up with it, dribbles it up left-handed. And looking to drive it through the middle and forces it off the window, no good. Schneller along with Barrett and a couple of Lindsey Paulson. And Marquise tied up. Bigfork basketball underneath with 1:36 to go in the third quarter. Feeds it to Nelson. Nelson goes up. The shot off the pass from Schneller, and she'll foul. She'll go to the free throw line as Nelson can't make the bucket. Yeah, fouls at number 12, Brooke Schrainer. Yeah, Schreiner's second and 14th foul. Nelson will get 2 shots here at the free throw line. Her shot up is no good by Jordan Nelson with 1:34 to go, and the Valkyries trailing 46-26 on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Nelson, shot off the backboard and good. Makes the second free throw, 46-27. And Meisner with the basketball, feeds it over to Marquise, back to Meisner on the right side. Meisner feeds it down in the corner to Schrainer. Schrainer is taken away by Emma Barrett, and she is fouled. Number 4, Lindsey Paulson, is her first and 15th foul. Martins will take it out of bounds, looking for Barrett. Feeds it into Schneller. Schneller comes away with it and looking to pass it. She's going to dribble. Feeds it to Barrett. Barrett up the left side. She's going to get trapped. Knocked out of bounds by Meisner. And Barrett will take it out of bounds in the backcourt. Feeds it into Schneller. Schneller gets in the backcourt. Back to Barrett on the left side. She's going to bring it out to the top of the key. Is Barrett. Barrett, the freshman, feeds it out to Edgerton. Edgerton on the drive, puts it up and scores the bucket as she crosses the lane. A nice right-handed shot by Ansley Edgerton. And Edgerton will go to the line to try to complete the and one as the foul is called on number 3. And that'll be her 4th personal. That is Morgan Cooper now with 4 and 6 team foul, and she'll get replaced in the ball game. Schrainer in the ball game, along with Marquise, and Edgerton to complete the and one. Free throw on the way, draws nothing but the net, and 46-30 with 1 minute and counting. Pemberton with the basketball. Gives it over to Marquise. Marquise right side. Over to Pemberton at the top of the key. Meisner with the basketball now on the left side. In the corner to Schrainer. Schrainer to Meisner. To Pemberton. Out to Marquise. Marquise shuffle her feet. And traveling is the violation called on Kylie Marquise. Inbounded is Martins. Feeds it into Schneller. Martins gets it back. Gets Schneller. Schneller gonna dribble across the timeline. Just too tall for Jordan Nelson. If they just slow it down once they get it across the timeline, they'd be okay. 34.3 to go here in quarter number 3. And a turnover by the Valkyries. And Meisner has the basketball across the timeline for Belt. Schneller. Got to be careful with those 4 personals. Meisner feeds it over to Marquise, back to Meisner, over to Pemberton on the left side. She's going to look in to drive. Martin's right there. Little ticky-tack there as the foul is called. Sailor Martins, her first personal 14th foul. Letting Belt get away with a little more than that. Inbounded to Pemberton. Pemberton on the drive, puts it up and good for 2. 6 seconds to go, 4 seconds. Edgerton's got to know what time it is. 3 seconds left. Barrett's shot doesn't get it up at the end of the third quarter. as the Belt Lady Huskies put up 48 points, and the Bigfork Valkyries have 30 on your Bigfork Harvest Food scoreboard. We'll be back here momentarily with the fourth quarter from Shelby, Montana in the Coyote Kickoff Classic as the Valkyries trail 48-30. All right, welcome back to Shelby, Montana Coyote Kickoff Classic. And fourth quarter action, it'll be the Lady Huskies basketball here to start the fourth quarter as they lead the Bigfork Valkyries 48-30. And the fourth quarter is underway from Shelby, Montana. James LaFontaine, the voice of the Vikings and Vals, with you, and the inbounded to Pemberton. Pemberton, top of the key, feeds it over. Needless stole. Edgerton trying to go get it. And off the hand, stolen away. Ansley gets it over. Barrett stolen away by Pemberton on the ground. And Barrett will get right there. She's a scrapper. Gets on the ground and ties it up with number 5, Grace Norstedt. And it'll be Bigfork basketball underneath on the tie-up. Edgerton stole it, knocked it away, and then Sneller comes up with it, gives it to Barrett. Barrett tried to drive it in and ties it up. She'll inbound to Heidi Schneller and knocked away by Norstedt. Bigfork basketball on the far side. Emma Barrett will take it out of bounds for the Valkyries. 7:43 to go here in the ball game. Feeds it to Sailor Martins. She can't handle the pass. Taken away by Abby Gilco. Pemberton up to Cooper. Cooper back to Pemberton. A long three-point shot, no good, and Barrett will come up with the rebound for the Valkyries. And Cooper's going to drive. Barrett has to let her score. Goes 3 fouls. And Martins gets it into Sneller. Martins back to Sneller. A cup to Emma Barrett. Emma Barrett feeds it over to Martin. Martins looking, finds it out to Sneller. Sneller on the right side. Pemberton putting the pressure on. Feeds it to Barrett. Barrett over the corner. Ansley Edgerton three-point shot on the way over the top of the rim and no good. Pemberton comes up with the rebound for Belt. Feeds it out. Stolen away by Martins on a long pass intended. Cooper with the basketball, throws it up, no good. Ansley Edgerton will come up on the right side for Bigfork. Feeds it off to Emma Barrett. Barrett across the timeline. Puts up a shot off the rim and no good. Nelson nearly comes up with it, going to get on the ground, and Schneller is going to tie up Pemberton, or Pipperton, excuse me, underneath. And they're looking to see what's going on. The arrow points towards Bigfork. They have lots of tie-ups, so Bigfork will get the basketball. The tie-up with Schneller and Pemberton. 50-30, Belt leads the Valkyries with 6:30 to go in this ball game. Barrett looking to drive all the way to the bucket and scores. The two does Emma Barrett. Pemberton brings it across the timeline for Belt. Sneller putting the pressure on. Pemberton pulls up, makes the jumper for the Belt Lady Huskies. Barrett tries to hit Martins, stolen away, and Pemberton will shoot again and comes up as Martins comes up to the basketball, the rebound on the miss, feeds it out. Barrett to Heidi Schneller. Schneller looking to get the ball across, finds it to Martins. Martins across the timeline and gets away from her. Pemberton comes up with the basketball for Belt. 52-32 on the Harvest Food scoreboard. The Valkyries trail by 20. Pemberton at the free throw line, feeds it out to Marquise. Marquise back to Pemberton. Shoots a three-point shot on the way and scores the three-pointer. 55-32, Barrett. Feeds it to Schneller, right side, back to Barrett. Over to Martins. Stolen away by Pemberton, ill-advised pass. And Pemberton will up and under on Barrett, but Barrett, good defense, feeds up Nelson in the front court, looking to drive, feeds it off to Edgerton, blocked away by Glicko. And Marquise with the basketball. And she's going to travel as she tries to come to a stop, and pressure put on there by Heidi Schneller. Audrey, Benz, and Isabella Santa-Steven back in for the Valkyries. 5:07 to go here in the ball game. 55-32. The Valkyries trail the Belt Lady Huskies on the Harvest Food scoreboard. In to Schneller, up to Barrett, right side. Barrett looking, finds Schneller, but Cooper reads it this time and knocks it out of bounds. It'll be Bigfork basketball underneath. Just under 5 to go in the ball game. A sure test for the Valkyries today. Belt's got a good team, play together, substitutes a lot. Heidi Schneller to Benz, back to Schneller. They're just throwing away, telegraphing those passes, and Paulson's going to drive it all the way on Benz. Misses the bucket, but Cooper gets the rebound and puts it back up, no good. But she's fouled and will go ahead to the free throw line. And the foul will be on number 14, Audrey Benz. Her first and 5th team foul on the Valkyries. Cooper at the line misses the first free throw. And a full timeout will be called by Bigfork with 4:47 to go here in this ball game. And the Belt Lady Huskies 55, the Bigfork Valkyries 32. We'll be back with a continuation of the fourth quarter from Shelby, Montana momentarily. Welcome back. At the line, it is Cooper. She completes it 56-32. She makes the second free throw. And Schneller up to Barrett, out to Benz. Benz looking, Barrett top of the key to Santa-Steven. Santa-Steven to Schneller. Schneller looking to drive, cut off there by Meisner. Schneller dribbles it out to the top of the key. Pressure putting on. And tries to get to Santa-Steven, but throws it away. And number 40, Ashton McAnally will replace Jordan Nelson with 4:21 to go. And inbounding the ball to Brooke Schrainer is Belt. Over to Lindsey Paulson. Out to Shelby Paulson. Santa-Steven comes up with the basketball. Feeds it up, Schneller in the corner. Trapped. Lindsey Paulson dribbling it up for Belt across the timeline. Cooper with the bucket. Paulson on the drive. And Paulson gonna shuffle her feet, and she's gonna travel. That's Shelby Paulson. It'll be turnover to Bigfork, 3:56 to go. 56-32, the Valkyries trail, inbounded to Schneller. Schneller across the timeline, gives it to Barrett, out to Benz. Benz looking just to pass it out to Barrett, top left side of the key. Top over to Schneller on the right side. Heidi Schneller, top of the key. It's Emma Barrett, and drives all the way in. Bucket off the rim and no good for Emma Barrett. And 3:30 to go. And Cooper with the basketball, feeds it over to Paulson. Paulson back to Cooper. Fakes a three-pointer and drives back to Paulson. Paulson feeds it over in the far corner to Lindsey Paulson, and held ball underneath. A nice job by Benz helping up number 14, Shelby Paulson. And Coach Jeff Graham will change out all 5 for Belt, so as an announcer, it's hard to keep up. Shot up, no good, rebounded by Belt. Shot on the way by Pearman, no good. Three-point shot, no good. Marquise with the shot. And shot put up by number 12, Schrainer, no good. Rebounded, Schneller out on the break and taking it all the way. Crosses over, puts it up, and scores the bucket. Does Heidi Schneller, and she'll get a chance to complete the three-point play the old-fashioned way as she steps to the free throw line, and the Valkyries trailing 56-34 with 2:48 to go in this ball game on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Schneller's free throw at the line, up and off the rim, and no good. And Perriman with the basketball for Belt, into the front court, feeds it far side to to Paulson. Schrainer, stolen away. Aubrey Benz all the way, drives it, puts it up, misses, but Schneller, rebound, knocks it, puts it up, no good. Barrett with the basketball, does a Marcus Haynes move, dribbles from her knees, gets up and continues, passes it off to Schneller, and Schneller over to Benz. Feeds it to Santa Stevens. Barrett recovers it. Santa Stevens with the basketball, looking to drive. Benz with the basketball, out to Santa Stevens. Thought about that three-point shot. Feeds it over to Benz. Benz, Santa Stevens. Top of the key to Barrett. Barrett throws up the three-pointer, no good. Tries to get the rebound, come up with, and stolen away by Barrett. Brings it out top. The freshman does. It's taken away from Schrainer. Barrett will dribble in. Feeds it to Schneller. Schneller on the drive, puts it up and off the rim and no good. And rebounded by Schrainer. 1:38 to go in this ball game. And Schrainer will pass to Marquise. Marquise over the corner to Perriman. Perriman looking out top on the left side. Back to Perriman. Back to Marquise. Stolen away, knocked away by McAnally. Emma Barrett looking, gives it to McAnally, top of the key. And McAnally will feed it to Benz on the right side, Barrett, top of the key, looking to drive, feeds it to Santa Stevens. Three-point shot on the way by Santa Stevens, off the rim, and no good for Valkyries. About 1 minute to go in this ball game, and Schrainer goes down and travels. It'll turn over back to Bigfork with 1:03 to go. And Pemberton, Meisner, inbounded to Santa Stevens, top of the key for Bigfork. Over to Barrett on the right side, back to Santa Stevens, back to Barrett, driving on her left side, gives it up to Heidi Schneller, drives it to her right. And Schneller is going to drive all the way, floater up and no good. And if that's on Schneller, that is her 5th personal. And that is on Heidi Schneller. Heidi will foul out with 46.7 to go in this ball game. And she'll put up 8 points, does Schneller, before she fouls out. Sailor Martins will come into the ball game with 46.7 and counting. 56-34, Valkyries trail. Pemberton feeds it under to Paulson. Lindsey Paulson turns around, misses the jumper, but her sister comes up with the rebound, and a late whistle. And Ashton McAnally will pick up her fourth on a late whistle, and Jordan Nelson will return for Bigfork. And at the line for two, it'll be number 14, Shelby Paulson, with 32 seconds to go in this ball game. Shot up short off the front of the rim and no good by Paulson. 56-34 on your Harvest Foods scoreboard. Valkyries run into a very good Belt Lady Huskies aggressive pressure team. Second free throw is good, 57-34. Santa Stevens to Martins, back to Santa Stevens, and they're taking out the pressure as Belt. Santa Stevens, top of the key, is going to feed to Barrett. Barrett looking to drive. Crossover, puts it up, and good. Nice move by the freshman, Barrett. And Pemberton on the right side, 9 seconds. Just going to run the clock out. No reason to put any pressure. Meisner with the basketball, 4 seconds to go. And that will be your ball game. The Belt Lady Huskies, a Class C team that will be very good in Class C action, win this one 57-36. 36. Ugh, been a long day. Over the Bigfork Valkyries on your Harvest Food scoreboard. A big shout out and thank you again once to Marcus Balgos and Harvest Foods, along as well as the Bigfork Booster Club for sponsoring this action. We'll be back here momentarily. I'll tally up our points, see if they add up for Bigfork. Here from Shelby, Montana, James LaFontaine with you. The final 57-36. The Valkyries taking it on the chin against the Belt Lady Huskies. We'll be back momentarily from Shelby, Montana. All right, welcome back to Shelby, Montana, the Coyote Classic, wrapping up things. Final 57-36 as the Valkyries face a very staunch and very aggressive Belt Lady Huskies on your Harvest Food scoreboard. Your final, taking a look at scoring, Emma Barrett had 8 points, 4 total fouls, 6 for Heidi Schneller. Ansley Edgerton led the way with 11, 7 for Jordan Nelson, and 4 for Sailor Martins. Santa Stephen and McAnally totally shut out today. That's a key difference, a total of 36 for the Valkyries. Leading the way for 24 by Morgan Cooper. Pemberton had 19, and 9 for Shelby Paulson. 2 by Marquise, a total of 57. So basically 2 of their leaders, Colby Pemberton and Morgan Cooper, for the Lady Huskies. A very good team. A lot of juniors on that team, mostly juniors and 2 seniors. And leading the way, a very good team that the Valkyries faced. First half, Lady Huskies shoot 48%, and they shoot 33% in the second half, 40% overall. For the Valkyries in the first half, they were 7 of 14, shooting it right at 50%, 2 of 4 from three-point land, 50%. Second half was 7 of 9, down to 37% overall, 42% on 14 of 33 for the ball game. Three-pointers, they were 2 of 8, 25% overall. Well, that's it for Valkyrie basketball. We'll be in action next Thursday as they take on the Eureka Lady Lions at home, and we'll catch that action there live. We'll hope to see you there to come to the ball game at home against the Eureka Lady Lions. So the Valkyries split, win 1 and lose 1 in this tip-off classic. The Vikings win both of their games and move to 2-0, and they'll take on the Eureka Lions coming up next Thursday. For Bigfork High School and Valkyrie and Viking basketball, this is James LaFontaine, the voice of the Vikes Vals from Shelby, Montana. And the Coyote Tip-Off Classic, and your final 57-36, the Valkyries actually had the 38 on the scoreboard, on the stat sheet, but I'm not sure which is right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Remember, everybody here, thanks to Bigfork Harvest Foods and the Booster Club from Shelby, Montana, James LaFontaine saying, have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you later.